Hey, this is Matt once again. What about to the video? There's another paid request, this time for Alex. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this time, Alex wanted me to talk about the 1997 film Turbulence. Now, I had seen this film before, and I've seen this film a couple times. I remember I used to have this on DVD, actually. But it's one of those films that I really like the trailer. It's very 90s. It's got my favorite White Zombie song and Rob Zombie song. More human than human. More human than human. More human. And that trailer is better than the movie. Like, that trailer, I could watch the trailer now and get pumped for it, excited for it. There's Ray Liotta having fun. I love the more human than human beat to it. The effects, for its time, look pretty decent, and there's a decent amount of practical. It's not just a Asylum Sci-Fi Channel CGI, which it would be today. So I appreciate those, the practicality of it. And then it's like, oh, I'd go watch that again. And then I watch it, I'm like, yeah, now I remember why it sucks. And so this film does suck. And it is a rant. Now, is that to say it's one of the worst films of 1997? Well, maybe. I'd have to look at a list of 97 films. Does that mean it's one of the worst films of all time? No. It's not one of the worst films of all time. Ray Liotta, may he rest in peace, is having fun. And he's doing every step of the, he's trying to be very nice and charming, and then he's trying to be demented and laughing, and then he's like trying to be the fucking Joker from Batman, and then a slasher villain, and say your prayers, you know. Then he's like singing, this is a Christmas movie. Turbulence is a Christmas movie. And he's like dashing through the snow. I mean, he's hamming the fuck up. He took the ham, the eggs, the bacon, the sausage, the pancakes, the waffles, everything, and gobbled it all up. And I enjoy it for that. Like, you may say it's not a subtle performance, but I will tell you one thing. Ray Liotta is having a lot of fucking fun with it. Sadly, the other people are kind of blocks of wood. Except one, which I'll get to. And what they did with her was a fucking shame. Because I think that if there's one crucial change, it could have helped us a lot more. But the story is that Hector Elizondo, who's in Leviathan, personal favorite of mine, Beverly Hills Cop 3, among others, he knows that there's this guy who's a strangler, a killer, called the Lonely Heart Strangler. And you find out it's Ray Liotta. He gets arrested. He's going to be transported to LA for trial. Now, I don't know if they do this a lot, where you get like a big old 747 and there's only like 11 people on. Do they still fly those big ass planes if there's only 11 people on? Shows how little I go on planes. If you do, let me know. I mean, I guess. But I guess I would think they would just move them to another plane. Like maybe a smaller plane? I don't know. Anyway, it's Christmas Eve. You see some Christmas decorations in the plane. And like I said, there's barely anyone on board. Lauren Holly is our lead. And that's sadly one of the major fucking issues with this movie. Lauren Holly, you remember in Dumb and Dumber as the gal that Jim Carrey wanted and tried to go for and was chasing. She works in that movie. She does not work in this movie. She's not a leading woman material. She is pretty wooden. Unless when she's streaming and then she's really annoying. And she really sinks this movie a lot. I know the idea of the film, it's silly. I know you have some really ridiculous situations, like there's a fucking point where the goddamn plane's upside down and it's a big ass storm. But I could go with those silly escapism, ridiculous moments when they're big, when they're bigger than life and it's done for a respectable amount of effects compared to today's age. I really can let go and enjoy the fun silliness, but you gotta give me a better lead. In fact, most of the characters, and this has a pretty decent cast. I mean, on the ground, Hector Elizondo's with Rachel Ticotin, who's in the 1990 Total Recall, who becomes Arnold's love by the end of it. She was also in Con Air. You got Jeffrey DeMunn, good character actor. He was in quite a few Frank Darabont films. He was the sheriff in the Blob remake from 1988. He was in this underrated film called Warning Sign from the 80s. He was a cop in The Hitcher, the original one. Good character actor. Ben Cross, may he rest in peace. He was in Chariots of Fire, among others. He's in this good Dolph Lundgren film called The Russian Specialist. He's here as another pilot trying to help Lauren Holly do what she needs to do to try to fly the plane. On the plane, Brendan Gleeson is another criminal. Brendan Gleeson, who would be in 28 Days Later and many other movies. What's funny is that he's an Irish guy, and they got him doing a southern accent. So it's the most unconvincing southern accent. Oh, hello, Pilgrim, how's it going? Why would you hire an Irish guy to play a fucking southern guy? That's like asking Sean Connery to play Roscoe P. Coltrane in a fucking Dukes of Hazzard movie. It just doesn't work. Do you imagine Sean Connery as Boss Hogg, I should say, not Roscoe. Although that'd be funny as well. Either one would be funny. Roscoe P. Coltrane or Boss Hogg in Dukes of Hazzard. But can you imagine that? Sean Connery is that? And like Catherine Hicks is one of the flight attendants. And a bit in the movie, well, I should say halfway through the film, she gets strangled and killed off. And I'm like, you got Catherine Hicks, the star of Child's Play from 1988. She was in Star Trek 4, going one-on-one with Captain Kirk, William Shatner. I'm sorry, Catherine Hicks is a better actress than Lauren Holly. She has more charm. She has more of likable quality, likable aura. Why in the flying fuck? And I agree with Roger Ebert, because he said this in his review, because I was looking up reviews for this. Roger Ebert also said this. It would be much better if it was Catherine Hicks than Lauren Holly. If Catherine Hicks was the lead, the one moment between her and Ray Liotta worked very well. Where he's like, you're not as dumb as the others, are you? Yeah, you knew there's something up with me. When did you know? They got good chemistry with each other. When she's not trusting Ray Liotta, and why can't Catherine Hicks be the fucking lead in the movie? Or you think it's Lauren Holly, and then she gets killed and do a little cycle thing, and now it's Catherine Hicks. You go, oh shit. Yeah, she was the smarter one, just she was the one that didn't trust Ray Liotta. So Lauren Holly, you think's going to be the lead, but she gets killed off because she trusts too much. And the one who didn't trust is the smarter one, and the smarter one is the one who lives. And is the better actress, and would give a better performance. If you change that, I'm not saying everybody would love the film more. I know I would like the film more. Catherine Hicks is the lead? Yes. That one vital change might not have saved the movie, but would have tremendously helped this fucking movie. And Lauren Holly's character, I know her character got dumped before she gets on the plane for her job, but she just acts like a fucking dumbass at times. It's funny, there's a line that someone goes, we seem to have a surplus of idiots on board. They got a point with that. And Lauren Holly just seems dumb. Like, there's a point where there's no one flying the plane, and she knows that, and she has to, I gotta go check on Maddie, I gotta go check on Catherine Hicks' character. And they're like, no, don't open the door. The killer's out there. No, no, I gotta check on it. So she goes out, unlocks the door. Blah, blah, blah happens. Then the storm is raging and she's trying to get back up. No, instead, she stops. She gets in a seat and she fucking buckles herself. And there's no one flying the plane. You did fine. You want to buckle yourself, fine. But when no one's flying the plane, it don't matter if you got your fucking seatbelt on. Lauren Holly. Get your ass back in that fucking cockpit right fucking now. I don't buy her being tough. I don't buy her being a badass. I don't buy her for a penny or a cent or 50 cents. I don't buy her. There's a lot of stupid people. Like Brendan Gleeson just, I think it was one of the, was it FBI? I think it's an actor named Grandel Bush. It's an actor I've seen a lot of stuff. I think he was in Free Jack with Emilio Estevez. He's been in other movies. He just killed easily because he's an idiot. Who doesn't pay attention to Brendan Gleeson getting this fucking piece of zinc to stab him in the stomach. The pilots are idiots because they know there's a ruckus going on. So one just blindly rushes down the stairs. Hey, what's going on here? And then the other pilot, I don't know what the fuck this pilot was trying to do. But the pilot, he's like, puts on something. And he's like, oh, I guess I better go out there too. And then, I don't know what bumped him. And then, boom, falls forward, hits his head, and he dies. Like, these two pilots died by such fucking stupidity. Their IQs must be minuscule to the percent of 1. And really, all you're doing while watching the film is, I don't mind the interior of the plane, the way it's lit. I think it looks pretty decently lit. It doesn't feel like a cheap set. I think the outside shots of the plane for 1997 are pretty capable. I'm glad they don't go the cheap route like using stock footage like other movies do. And I think for the most part, other than one little bit, it looks decent. There's a bit of, I mean, this had a pretty good budget. 55 million, like holy shit. It doesn't look like a $55 million movie. But I mean, it doesn't look like a completely cheap movie either. This is still 1997. There's some CG, but you had to do a lot of stuff still with a bit more practicality. And Ray Liotta's having a ball, going through all the range of emotions. Rest in peace. It was great to at least see him. And he was a good actor. I miss him. He was great in Copland, Goodfellas. Very great, capable actor. And even this, I think he knew what kind of film this was. He's like, fuck it. It's a big paycheck. I get to be like first build in the trailers. I get to... This is a big budget movie. I'm just going to have fun with this. And unless they want to ratchet up their game, I'm just going to say fucking go for broke. And he does. You know, you're going to be the first cop to die with a plane up his ass. Or like when he's talking to Lauren Holly, he's like, oh, you don't do something for me, huh? You don't give me a bigger bang than what I get from crashing this plane? Now, granted, because of... It kind of realizes the toughness of doing a story within a plane. I do think Nonstop with Liam Neeson did that much better. But he also had... That was more of a murder mystery and people didn't know what was going on. So you had time to try to figure out and be nonchalant. And here, though, you only have less than a dozen people. Maybe with the pilots, a dozen people. I can't remember. Around a dozen people. And so it's... And then a lot of them get killed off early. And then the others pretty much just put into they get put into a holding place, and we don't see them until the very end of the movie, which I thought was kind of strange. That you think maybe one or two or three of them would try to get out, or there'd be something more to their story. No, they're there. They get put in a hold, and then forgotten about till the end of the movie. And there's not a whole lot you can do in a plane with just a guy and a girl stalker type. Because she's in the cockpit and he's trying to get in, or they're chasing down the aisle, or chasing up the aisle, or the other aisle. There's no a whole lot of different environments and different situations you'd really get in. So you get him get his leg trapped, or he's trying to fuck up the autopilot, which is a funny bit where he gets zapped. It's like, okay, not that one. He does the other. As I said, Ray Liotta is trying. I said the way the interiors of the plane look, it's the few bits of action where she's going to the city, and you see this in the trailer. That's what I mean. If you see the trailer, you don't need to see the movie. The trailer is better edited, more exciting, got a cool song, and some Ray Liotta highlights. And just watch the trailer. You don't need to see the movie. Even the action bits, the wind going through the billboard, the deer going through a roof, and a truck catching to its deer. Now, granted, yes, if it did that, I'm sure immediately would fucking crash like that. But if a wing of a plane goes through a billboard, is the wind strong enough to withstand that? I don't know about that. But like I said, I could buy the bullshit if I'm more invested in the story, and if more invested in the lead who we're supposed to care about, because she's the one being hunted, she's the one being stalked, she's the one being chased, she's the one being scared, she's the one getting a bit bloodier as it goes along. And like on the ground, they don't really... Hetty Elizondo and Rachel Ticotin and Jeffrey DeMunn, they have nothing to do. They really have nothing to do. Like, really not much of what Hetty Elizondo says amounts to anything. Maybe Ben Cross is another pilot who's able to help her out a bit with landing the plane. It just seemed like a waste of Jeffrey DeMunn and Rachel Ticotin. Kind of a waste of some of these pretty decent actors. Like I said, you got Brendan Gleeson with a really bad southern accent. Catherine Hitchens should not have been killed off. She should have been the lead. The score... Take or leave this musical score. Like I said, I think I appreciate the production quality is high enough that I do feel this was a theatrical film. It's not like the sequels to Turbulence, which what to direct the video, because there were two of them. Turbulence 2 and Turbulence 3. And Craig Sheffer's in two of them, in both of them, but I don't know if he's supposed to be playing the same character, because he's in both, but I think his different names? I don't know. Those were weird. So... there's a part of nostalgia part of me that I see even a film like this, even a film that is bad, you still have these set pieces like, wow, they actually built a set with all these extras, and they actually had a big fucking deer plane go through and go up through the roof of this place that people were eating, and like, wow, that's actually a big set piece and done for real in camera, which... that's better than some of the shit you would see in big budget movies today, because it's done for real. You can't get more real than real, and it's hard for me to not to film that has those moments, and I miss that. And you take for granted that someone put the effort and time and money to doing something like it's not simple, but in a way it's simple. But like I said, a killer versus a lady on a plane, there's only so much you could get from that. Maybe a word for like... maybe like an action movie anthology. Because I don't know if they've ever done that. There's horror movie anthologies. But is there an action movie anthology where you have like 20, 30 minute, 15, 20 minute action movies scattered out for, 2 hours? Like an action movie version of Creep Show? Or maybe like a higher budgeted episode of a TV show. This whole plane thing maybe could work. Or again, maybe just some tighter pacing or more workings on the script, a better lead actress. Some of those things. But keep Ray Liotta, because at least Ray Liotta's having fun. I give credit to the technical people who did the inside of the plane, and even some of the models of the outside of the plane, and some of the little physical actions in the third act. Even when the plane is going upside down, and the way the interior looks to really sell the illusion that's going upside down interior-wise. And the director, Robert Butler, he did Night of the Juggler, Night of the Juggler, which I enjoy, with James Brolin. Deserves a DVD, deserves a Blu-ray. There's a trailer on YouTube. It does not do the film justice. Night of the Juggler is a really good gem of a movie. That needs to be put out sometime, DVD or Blu-ray. He also did Up the Creek, which was like a rip-off of National Lampoon's Animal House. It has Cheap Trick. I'm up the creek. I'm up the creek. They did the title song. I think it has Tim Matheson, who was in Animal House. It's a fun, comedy from the 80s. It's fun for what it is. This guy also did the Computer Wore Tennis Shoes with Kurt Russell when he was with Disney as a kid. So, and this was the last film Robert Butler did. So you'd say it killed his career. Because if it had a $55 million budget and it made like maybe $10 million at most, this was one of the biggest bombs of that year. Easily one of the biggest bombs of that year. And sadly, other than Ray Liotta, I can see why. Wasted some talented people like Jeffrey DeMunn and Catherine. Why you have Catherine Hicks? No one looks. Maybe she should be the lead. I don't know. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Rest in peace to Ray Liotta. At least he gave us a fun performance here. And yeah, just watch the trailer. You get more of enjoyment out of it. We'll see you guys later.